On the beam is Amy Shear. She's looking up right at the moment at her teammate Kim Zemeskel, who put up a 9.7 a moment ago. Shannon Miller, who won on the uneven bars, 9.475 to start the beam competition. But here's Amy Shear.
I had a feeling we were going to have a great balance beam competition. We've gotten off to a great start. 2 back roll extensions, right to handstand, showing some originality. Amy can be very tough on this event. She's very tough mentally. Here's her most difficult pass of the routine. 2 layout step outs. Okay, she fought for that landing. She was a little bit off on that second layout, but she pulled it off. That's one of the requirements, a gymnastics series, 2 leaps directly connected. That's a back tuck kick out to a straddle down. Another difficult move. Showing her flexibility, and also another requirement, a gymnast must have an element down on the beam. Preparing for the dismount. A little bit too long there on the end. Round off, double back dismount. Little hop on the landing, and also a little sloppy in the air. She had that cowboy position that Bart spoke about yesterday.
So we'll see if it's enough. Bella liked it.
Is that right?
Got a lot to shoot for here, though, 9.7, and she smiles. Nice to see that.
Kim's routine is going to be really tough to beat, but this was a nice, solid routine. Great angle for this. Back handspring, 2 layout step outs. You can see she's directly over the beam, but her legs are a little bit bent, and on the second one, her body tilted just slightly off kilter.
And the dismount.
Now watch, you can see this position in the air that really is not completely desirable. You should keep the legs together.
So we'll see if Amy Shear did enough. There's a look at Amy, already a winner in the vault.
It's definitely enough to be pleased about. Anytime you hit your beam routine, that's something to smile about.
Yeah, it really is. And again, as you mentioned earlier, she's all business when she's competing, but she's out here today and just having a good time. And 9.7 on the beam will move her into a tie with her teammate Kim Zemeskel. So she is having better than just a good competition so far.
It's a good score. I have to be honest, I wasn't sure if they'd give her that. But she had some of the original moves, the back rolls to handstand. Beautiful plant there by Erica Stokes.
Erica Stokes coming off an excellent all-around competition. She finished second in that competition to Kim Zemeskel and made a big comeback on the second day.
Erica's one of the prettiest gymnasts here in terms of form and execution. 2 back handsprings to a layout step out. Just straight on the beam. It's another one of her requirements, a full turn on one leg. Gainer back handspring to a sisson. That's another requirement, but she does it quite well. It's a gymnastics acrobatics series in which you combine dance and an acrobatic element. Oh, and that is gorgeous. I love that move. It's a full twisting back handspring straddle down. It was invented by Elena Shushinova, former world champion, and it's just an Olympic champion. And actually, I think Erica Stokes does it better than she did.
You want to know what this is like? Just walk outside and get up on your backyard fence. Try doing a couple of flips.
And a double twist dismount. It's a little bit of a weak dismount for her, but she's got so much difficulty within the routine. It doesn't matter that much at this point. When she thinks about competing internationally at World Championships and Olympics, she really needs a more difficult dismount. This is a great angle to show you what the gymnast sees. See how straight she is over the beam. And her legs are straight and body just parallel with the balance beam.
Let's take another look at that move that you were talking about.
This is so difficult. I can't even explain how difficult it is. There's the full twist, and she has to finish it before she comes down on the beam, and the timing is crucial here.
Yeah.
That's something I don't advise trying at home.
No, at any time.
And a round off double twist dismount. It's nice and clean in the air. She really strives for perfection.
That's excellent. You have an idea. This is a face that you may be seeing an awful lot of in the next 3 years. Right into first place. Erica Stokes, 9-7-5, and it looks as though we are going to have 3 events and 3 different winners. How do you like it? We're at the Marriott Arena, and we'll be back with a whole lot more after this. Stokes has moved into first place on the balance beam ahead of 2 teammates, Kim Zmeskal and Amy Scher. Let's talk about the requirements in this particular discipline, Kathy.
Now, we've seen examples of some in the routines. The acrobatic series are their tumbling series, and one of the tumbling passes has to have a flight element. Gymnastic series are the dance elements directly connected. Mixed series is combining, say, a leap and a turn with an acrobatic element. Of course, a full turn on one leg, at least one big leap or jump, and an element close to the beam. And all the girls we've seen so far have had all of these.
One thing we should point out, too, we mentioned earlier that there are 5 Caroli students in this particular competition, and while Bella is the king of his household, perhaps his wife Marta is the reason that there are so many of these young competitors here in the balance beam competition. She is the beam coach, and there are those who will say she is the power behind the throne.
Marta does an excellent job with these girls, preparing them for balance beam, because beam is the toughest event to compete. I think it's the easiest to do, but in competition, it is a tough one.
Amanda Urich now. Yet another Carolite, what would you call them?
Amanda scored a 9.5 in the all-around competition in this event. And while we have a break here, I'd like to remind everyone that since this is new life, meaning the scores do not carry from the all-around competition, this really benefits a good optional gymnast because they have to qualify counting their compulsories and optionals. So realistically, they could qualify in the 6th spot, barely making finals. And because they're good in optionals and they hit the routine in finals, they could win the event.
Hillary Grivich, who we did not have an opportunity to see while we were away, scored a 9.5. Now Amanda Urich.
Just a press to a handstand. Going to show a strength move, a plunge. Could have been a little bit lower and held a tiny bit longer. That's her gymnastics acrobatic series. She did a jump, sisson, right into a back handspring. Now, all these special requirements that I mentioned, if they are not present in the routine, it's a 1/10 of a point to deduction every single time. Here's her tumbling series. 2 back handsprings to a layout step out, a little check on the landing. Just a slight deduction there. But with the scores we've got to beat, 9.75 and 9.7, you can't afford to give those away. Back handspring to a back pike. Now that's a little bit larger deduction there on that landing. Full turn. She's met all her special requirements so far. It's an interesting back shoulder roll. Now she should be preparing for her dismount. Round off back handspring. Double twist. Most of the girls are either doing a double back or a double twist. One thing that makes that pass a little more special, she adds the back handspring. It was a nice routine. It wasn't as solid as some of the ones we've seen, but one you can be pleased about.
And gets a hug from her teammate and pal, Hillary Grivich. Another look.
Here's one of her acrobatic series. 2 back handsprings to the layout step out. Now you see her hips are out of line, so she has to check the landing. And the dismount. She does a round off back handspring, which upgrades the difficulty of this dismount. All the girls are landing a little bit off center. It's funny, it's like there's a spot on the mat that every single one of them wants to land on.
So we await the score for Amanda Urich. Might have cost herself a little bit too much.
Hello everyone, I'm Bob Varsha, welcoming you to Portland.
Really have been impressed with these girls throughout the entire competition, but particularly here on balance beam. These are young kids. They're 12, 13, 14-year-old. And they're handling the pressure of this event, and I think it's great.
Young kids, that's an I have socks older than these kids. So another look at Amanda Urich. We wait for the score, and there it is, 9.425. So she lost a little bit. And let's take you back just a couple of moments ago to Kim Zmeskal's performance here on the balance beam, this on videotape.
Of special note is no one had a single fall in the entire balance beam competition in finals. I think that's great.
And lest you lose sight of it, the balance beam is 4 inches across.
Actually, not even quite 4 inches, a hair under. Now, that was her gym acro series. She did a front handspring right into a split jump. Kim did a terrific job here. Did back handspring, 2 layout step outs, just solid as a rock. A full turn. Here's her other requirement, down low to the balance beam. Now, she had the disadvantage of going early up in the rotation. That's always something tough. It's very difficult to score the highest when you go first. 2 switch leg leaps in a row. That's one of the more difficult gymnastics series you can do. The gainer layout, she stocks her routine full of difficulty. And a double tuck dismount. Such a great routine. It's hard to believe that there were people that actually did better and scored higher.
Yeah, she set the tone for the high score. She was the second competitor and scored a 9-7 for that. And then behind her, Amy Shearer had the same score, and Erica Stokes slightly better.
Here's her 2 layout step outs in a row. Now, in the all-around competition, she scored a 9.725 on this event, which was the highest score of the entire competition. And dismount.
That just emphasizes the point that you made when we first came on the air today, and that is that everybody's a little bit looser. Everybody's going to try to suck it up just one more notch and get it done a little bit better, and they've done just that. Kim Zmeskal at 9-7. It wasn't to be good enough. The winner of this, Erica Stokes. We'll be back right after this. And Bart Connor along.